Hi everyone, I'm Nicola with Asian Feed. It's great to be with all of you today.
How are
Hi.
you?
And just starting off, I wanted to congratulate each of you on an amazing performance in the film. Can each of you just tell me a bit about how you prepared for your role?
We'll go that way.
What?
You still.
All right. Sure. One thing that I did that inspired me was the child actor Seung-min, who played the child, the Haesung, the younger Haesung, and he was always so shy, and he had like his arms kind of always to his body, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I took that from him, and I actually never had my elbows leave my upper body, and like in my mind I was doing some sense memory work that I had like a rope tied around my body, other than the drinking scenes. Whenever I had like a drink in the film, like that's when my character loosens up. So yeah, that was like one of the things that I did for preparation.
Cool. A rope tied around your body.
Yeah.
Sick. You go.
No, you go.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is really different from the things that I'd done before. I come from doing stage work, and I'd been doing a lot of comedy, and the pace of this and the tone, I mean, it was just very different, a pretty stark contrast in terms of pace, and there's so much restraint in the script, which was part of what was so attractive to me. And in terms of prep, I mean, the language was a big part of it, just in terms of honoring the specificity of who Nora is and making sure I could hang on to her Americanness and her Koreanness. And I had the honor and privilege of working with Sharon Choi, who many people know as Bong Joon-ho's translator. And it was more about fine-tuning how she sounds at different points. So that was like the most technical aspect of it. But aside from that, it was just trying to be present and available to whatever happened, and risk kind of destroying everything that I had privately planned before arriving to set, and listening and messing around with these guys. What did you do?
I did a lot of heavy drinking.
Yeah.
Just loosen up, No, at the risk of sounding lazy, I don't think there was a lot of preparation needed in a lot of ways, because the language was so clear and the conversation was so honest and accurate. It was almost, the preparation was getting out of our own way to just be there and be present and respond. There's a lot of, I've said this before, I'm married to a Korean American woman, and I feel that outsider status in our own relationship at times. So I was sort of leaning into that and what I was actually going through. Celine was a beautiful guide, and she helped us get there. There was a little bit of rehearsal that we did together where we got to read the scenes out loud, but I think that was more about getting to know each other a little bit more. And then it was just showing up and being present and letting the language speak for itself.
You had to learn English too.
I did have to learn English. No, I did do a lot of Hwatu playing, which is a Korean card game.
But those scenes got cut.
And those scenes got cut because I was terrible at it.
He was bad at it.
Anyway.
Amazing. I wish we could have seen those scenes. But I think also one element of what made the film so brilliant is how authentically it portrayed the immigrant experience. Can each of you just speak on that a bit and how you think it's shaped the narrative of the film?
Yeah, I mean, I love that this movie, even though it's culturally so specific, it doesn't really cater to any sort of gaze. So it doesn't cater to a white gaze or a male gaze or to any sort of like systems or infrastructures that exist in our society. And it's all just in service of telling essentially a really simple story about love. But I felt really invigorated by the challenge of just showing really plainly and truthfully what it's like to be American, Asian American, to live that life of being bicultural and bilingual, which is something that I understand and I think is personal to all of us. But again, in service of a much more universal idea, which is just love.
My immigrant experience is somewhat a bit different, I guess, because I was born and raised in Germany. And by that, I always had, in my life, a certain type of feeling of displacement. I wouldn't say sadness, but an undercurrent of melancholy. And I think that melancholy was one of the aspects that kind of where Celine and I clicked on a certain level, and I always wanted to find an artist who can utilize my emotion of melancholy in a good way, so I can be that instrument for that artist. And I'm so glad that I found this script and this character, even though my character is like a traditional Korean man, but the repressed emotion, I feel like I could express well with that emotion of melancholy.
You sound so German right
Do
now.
I? Oh my god.
Melancholy, capital M.
Yeah.
I mean, my family's immigrant experience is in the annals of history by this point, so I couldn't really draw on that. So but I was able to use my in-laws' experience because they immigrated from Korea to America. And just being on the outside looking in of that. But like Greta said, it's a story that's about so much more than just immigration. It's about human connection, and I think we all wonder about those people who are first crushes from childhood and where they are now and what would have happened. So I think that's also why you don't have to have the immigrant experience to respond to this film.
Absolutely. And I think another interesting theme that the film touched upon was the concept of inyan. Can you guys just tell me a bit about that part of the film and how you approached that?
Yeah, I think growing up as a Korean American with immigrant parents, inyan was initially kind of a foreign concept to me. Honestly, it felt like very philosophical and kind of academic, and it wasn't until we did the movie that it became more personalized to me. But I feel like in Korea, that's not the case. It's something that is threaded into everyday life.
Yeah, it's like
much
something
more
that
casually.
you talk about casually, like in everyday life, and it's just like this, with us even when we're talking with you, we're like, okay, 인연이 있었구나 우리가, which means like, oh, what was our 인연 in our past life. But it's also related not only to people, but also like to objects and like everything.
Of inyan with this chair.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thank you.